Hello, friends, and welcome to Deeper Than the Surface. I'm Erica, and I help women attract and keep quality, healthy relationships. And often, one of the conditioned thoughts that we're told to us is that we need to be independent. This is often praised, but rarely questioned with in depth thought without the criticism, because it's really not a bad thing. But the way it's been framed has created a lot of noise. So let's go way back into time, but not too long ago for some of us. As little girls who had fathers or father figures in our life, we were praised for being pretty, sweet, and kind, but we were also guided to be self sufficient, strong, and smart, usually leading to attributes of independence. If you were like me, you had a father who taught you how to fight and survive on your own. When I got my first car, my father taught me how to change a tire. He gave me pepper spray if I ever needed it, and the list goes on and on. And I don't believe he intentionally wanted to create this independent person inside of me to give me a hard time in the dating world, but definitely had me label myself as a independent woman that don't need a man. I wore that title out. I mean, I wore it like a badge of honor. And I also thought it was a little sexy to say that to men whenever I was dating. Sometimes men would even give me positive feedback on that narrative, whether they really admired that quality or was pretending to just say what I wanted to hear so they could get what they wanted. But nonetheless, independence had been conditioned in our minds for a long time, from an early age. And then the ideology becomes supported by our environment. If you did not have a father or father figures, you might have had aunts or grandmothers that told you that needing a man makes you weak, or some other nonsense. And so here's the truth. Somewhere along the way, independence got confused with isolation. And we're going to unpack that today. So let's continue to rewind the clock for a second. Back in the day, think World War II era. Women entered the workforce in huge numbers. They were holding it down while the men went off to war. That's where we got images like Rosie the Riveter. We can do it. That moment in time shifted how we saw women's roles, and rightfully so. It needed to happen. Fast forward to the women's liberation movement of the 1960s and 70s, women were saying, we want equality. We want our voices heard. We want access. All valid, all powerful. But like many movements, somewhere along the way, the messaging started to get muddled. By the time we got to the 90s and 2000s, especially in media targeting Black and Brown communities, independent women became the anthem. Songs like Destiny's Child Independent Women, and I believe Lil Boozy, if I'm not mistaken, Independent, what you know about me? Do you guys remember that song? I actually like that song a lot. But nonetheless, anyway, there were countless other things. Talk shows pushed that strong solo image. And while the intention might have been empowerment, it also created an unspoken rule. You don't need anyone to do life with. Not a partner, not a man, not help. And that's where the narrative started to quietly cut us off from healthy connection. Now let's be real. There's power in standing on your own 2 feet. I know it personally. I've had to. Many of us have. But there's also a side to that strength when independence becomes your entire identity. When it's not just, I can do this by myself, but I have to do this alone or I'm weak. That's not empowerment. That's survival mode. And it's exhausting. It makes vulnerability feel like a threat instead of a bridge. It makes you question receiving help, even when it's coming from a good place. Now, let's get into some real life impact. Studies have shown that social isolation, yes, even the emotional kind, leads to higher levels of stress, depression, and burnout. And many of us are walking around emotionally isolated in relationships because we bought into the idea that we're not supposed to need anyone. The American Psychological Association has even reported on the rise of emotional loneliness, that feeling of being unsupported even when you're surrounded by people. A lot of that stems from this pressure to always be the strong one. So here's the shift we need to start making. Independence is valuable, but interdependence, that's the goal. That's when two whole people come together, not to complete each other, but to complement each other. Interdependence says, I can handle things on my own, but I don't have to. It allows us to lean on each other, to ask for help, to receive love, and to offer support without guilt or shame. It's not about needing someone because you're incapable. It's about allowing connection because you're human. And honestly, real power is knowing when to stand tall alone and when to let someone else hold space for you. So if you ever felt like asking for help makes you weak, or like opening up means you're giving away too much, let me just tell you, you're not alone. That messaging runs deep. But the strength we're looking for is not in isolation, it's in building bridges. So let's unlearn the noise that told us needing someone is failure. The truth is, needing people is part of being alive. And when we learn how to do that from a healthy, grounded place, we actually make room for deeper love, better relationships, and more peace. Thanks for tuning in. If this hit home for you, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the next video. Why healing isn't just a buzzword, how to actually do the work before you date again. I'll see you there. Bye.